All
this
right, here we
morning.
are, a bunch of beautiful ladies. This is SG's an overhaul, except for me. I don't know about how much extra I
Party!
am at the age of 70 today. So yes, we're going to have a female party. Now we have
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Lisa.
we have Valerie and Christine here, and they're going to. I guess you want to introduce them, Ginger, or would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
You guys can go ahead and you can introduce yourselves if you
Tell me
want
about your
to. Yeah,
journey.
yeah,
Let's start with
yeah.
you, Valerie,
Okay, my
because
name
you're
is
on the top
Valerie.
of you're on the top of the window. That's the only
So,
reason.
like in a
Right.
clockwise. So, my name is Valerie Medina, and well, I'm a SEH practitioner where I do soul empowering hypnosis. And Christine and I have started a podcast where we both channel. And so we found each other here in the Bay Area, in San Francisco Bay Area, and started getting together on Zoom and developed this podcast. And we're excited to share.
That is awesome. Well, we're going to get your information for that podcast, of course, in the description box. And Paula would also put y'all's information
Mhm.
in the description box and on the screen too. And of course, we have wonderful Ginger Bailey, psychic medium, who is the one of the voices for my son in the afterlife, Erik. Do you guys channel like dead people or just information?
Well, we both
We
well,
we
we both
have.
had a conversation with Erik this morning or yesterday
Yeah.
separately.
Oh, tell
So
me.
I'm Christine Boschen. I'm Valerie's counterpart on our Spiritual Sauce podcast, and I am an intuitive channel and medium, and also a life coach, communication coach, that sort of a thing.
Ooh,
Yep.
excellent. Tell me
Yeah.
about the conversation. How many F-bombs did he drop?
Zero. Zero F-bombs.
Oh,
Valerie,
he's
do
such
you
a
want to tell
gentleman.
tell
Such a
your story?
gentleman. Yeah.
Well, I first met Erik a few years back. It was shortly after I was listening to your podcast, watching you on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I guess it was about 2017, and uh, I was getting some tooth surgery, and I was losing my teeth, and I was lamenting and started crying in the mirror,
Mhm.
wondering how I was going to look and
Yeah.
how they were going to fix these teeth, and I was really upset. And I turned around from the mirror, and there he was, and he pointed his fingers, and he went to me, and and
Oh my
what
God.
yeah, and what he was saying, but it was with love. It was very playful. And it was like, look at you, you're beautiful without the teeth. What are you worried about?
Oh God.
And it was so loving and kind. And I just went, oh, thank you. It was,
Now he has a really unique, playful energy, doesn't he? He's not like
yes.
solemn spiritual gurus that go like, welcome, my dear one, or things like that.
Yeah.
All right, go on. Or if you, Christine, if you want to go next.
Yeah, yeah. First, I want to say, I had not met either you, Elisa, or your son Eric until your invitation came through Ginger. Like, was that a week ago or so, Valerie?
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
a
so
couple weeks ago.
I've been watching your podcast a little bit, Elisa, to catch up and get to know you. And first of all, before I get into Eric, I want to say I really enjoy your playfulness and your way to keep things humorous. Like even how you introduced us before we were recording this morning. You were funny, right? And I appreciate you
Not
and the joy
everybody
that you
thinks I'm
bring.
funny. One
No,
person said,
I think
"Stop
you're
being
funny,
fun.
and
You're not
I
good at it. Be better."
no,
The comment
Be
said, "Well,
better.
screw you. This is free, dude. Come on."
yeah, right, exactly. This is free and so much work.
That's great me. I don't have a big old studio and all that kind of stuff. So,
So that's you, me getting to know you. And then as for Eric, so I have had the busiest of busy weeks, and so I had really fancy intentions of being quiet for an hour and sitting in my garden and bringing him in. And so 10 minutes before we started this morning, he said, "Okay, Christine, come on out and just go to your favorite tree spot and let's chat." And so then I brought him through, and it was very similar to Valerie that his energy is I think I have to describe the feeling, so warm, so
oh,
gentle, so playful. This combination of accessibility, he used the word hospitality. I
mm,
have the recording here. I could almost try to play it, but he brings a warmth and a hospitality and wisdom, and he's a gentle being. And he said, just chill. I'm jazzed that you're tuning into my frequency. Lighten up. Don't take yourself so seriously, and go have
That's
fun with my
Erik.
mom.
Eric,
And the other
I
thing,
see that
the other,
too.
I noticed you mentioned that he plays pranks, and I, even though I'm an intuitive, I'm a medium, I'm a channel, I do not like to be pranked by spirits. It freaks me out. I do not enjoy the creaking doors. I do not enjoy, the sights out of the corner of my eye. And so I was telling him, look, I want to meet you, but don't freak me out, okay? And so couple nights ago,
Oh God.
he created a smiley face in my bathroom sink drain.
Oh God. So
Just
that's not creepy.
No, it
Creepy
wasn't
No.
or
creepy. He
yeah.
was just like very gently saying, "Hey, I get it. I'm not going to freak you out, but hey, here I am. This is my signature for how I
That is awesome. Like
say
people don't
hello."
want Eric, people don't want you to hover over them when they're asleep and you wake up and you go, boo. You don't
That
want
was what I told them. Don't do that. Don't freak me out when I'm falling
no
asleep.
freakies,
Yeah.
no freakies. Thank you for
See,
that.
I was opposite. When I first met Erik, I was like, I have to see, I have to know.
No.
And he went right in my face. He's just boom. And he had like a pinstripe suit on, right? Like in a bow tie, the Papa suit, right? Like she dressed like
Papa
Papa.
Sue.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was like, that's what made me know, like for sure. But plus, I mean, I already knew what he looked like, right?
Yeah.
But just that honoriness of getting right in my face. And that's what I liked, in the beginning. Yeah.
Aw.
I got him on my shirt too here.
Beautiful boy, always at every phase of his life. Just captivating. I love all my children, but for some reason I couldn't stop looking at Eric, just staring at him like, whoa, you're different, man. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's light is different, and you can definitely
Yeah.
see it in Erik. Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
tell me about SEH, though. I'm not sure I understand it totally.
So it stands for Soul Empowering Hypnosis, and
Soul
it's where
Okay.
it's where you get into a super relaxed state. And once you get into that relaxed state, you ask your soul, your spirit guides, your higher self to answer questions that you might have. So before we actually get into the hypnosis part, we do a pre-interview where I get to know what questions you want to ask, things that have troubled you all your life, ways to improve your life, things like that. And so once you get into that state, we ask the soul to borrow your vocal cords and speak through you
Oh, wow.
and answer the questions that you want answered.
What does that
So
feel like?
it is, you just go with it. Like, have you ever been meditating and maybe talking to God, and you're really kind of relaxed and you ask a question and you hear the answer?
Yeah.
You go with that. And so
Trust
when
it.
you trust it. So when you're super relaxed, the person can just say it. And it leads to really some profound understandings.
Wow.
And for me, it opened me up to my other gifts. I had always been clairaudient, but it would come and go throughout my life, starting when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
And by the time I was an adult, I was not as tuned in all the time.
Yeah.
So when I started doing the SEH sessions, I just took a first course and practiced with other people where I facilitated the meditation and they facilitated it back, the hypnosis session.
Right.
And then I experienced this profound love energy. And it was so overwhelming. I thought, oh my God, this is what I want to do for people. I want other people to feel this.
So that love, was it coming from source or your higher self?
Yes.
Yes to both.
Both.
All.
Yeah.
Your ancestors, your spirit guides, angels, everyone is there, your team. And I found this profound love, and it just felt so good. And my struggle in this lifetime has been about self-love.
Yeah.
So to experience this on my own, not trying to get love from somebody else or something
Right.
else or
Outside of you.
outside of me.
Right.
This was the magic. This was it. It was like, oh my God, I finally found what I've needed all my life.
Wow. Just that
It
simple
had
thing. Wow.
it was also the ability to look at my life in a different way and to see the traumas and struggles as something happening for me
Right.
rather than
Lesson.
to me.
Lesson.
Yes. Yeah,
Valuable.
Erik says that a
Teachable
lot.
moments with teachable moments in them.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
you know what? I was wondering, you do art, right? So you do something with this, right? Where you do art during a session?
Almost
Yeah.
like
Don't you-
automatic writing kind of thing.
So
Yeah.
within soul empowering hypnosis, I asked the person to think about what your soul's favorite color is. And then I asked for I asked for the person to think about a winged being. It can be anything, a fairy, a butterfly,
Oh.
dragonfly, whatever with wings, and to allow it to come in and feel it. And what happens is the person describes what's happening and I take notes. And then after the session, I do a small original 5x7 painting and send it to them.
Yeah, it's part of the session. I think
Behind
that's so
you?
cool.
Yeah.
Is that your artwork behind you, or is that something else?
Yeah, that's
wow.
that's a piece.
Oh, look at that. Jeez. Oh, I
Yeah.
wish I was artistic. In
So I in order to I want the person to think about what happened in the session and how the guides came in and loved them and this is remember, you are loved.
Yeah.
So that's
And
my
you
way
are
of
love.
yes.
You are love. We're here to find out, discover the different facets of love, but we're also here to discover that we are love, to remember love. Anyway,
Yes.
that's my
And all one. All one.
and all
That's a
Yes.
hard that's a hard concept, I think, for us to get because we're always measuring outside of us, you know.
Yes, we're always looking outside of us.
measuring stick. How do I measure
yeah.
up? Yeah.
Exactly. So with this SEH, that opened up other things like channeling. So suddenly I was in the middle of a session, not interrupting, but waiting for a slow time and then saying, can I offer? So my guides were speaking to me and giving me information about the question also. So at first, I was interrupting and saying, this is what my guides have to say about it. Now I wait till the end of a session and write down what my guides have said. And it's always in support. And actually, the information usually comes in through the interview. So my guides are speaking to me first, and I'm writing it all down, even though I'm writing the question down too.
That's cool because then you get confirmation during the session. That was
exactly. Yeah. And it's always in support of what their guides have said. So it's in a way, it's like our guides together are working together for the person.
That's cool.
So
almost like
it's a like validation, like a circle of validation too.
Yeah.
So then you started Spirit Sauce, right? Podcast.
Spiritual Sauce.
Yes.
Spiritual Sauce. Christine, do you also do this work?
I don't do the hypnosis that Valerie does, but we are both channels, and I'm a medium too.
Awesome.
And I would describe the difference between channeling and medium as actually a gradation. Excuse me. My perception is that we are all of the one, we are all part of God. That there's different layers to our beings. And to channel is, in the way that I use the definition, to go as high as possible, as high as I can reach into the realms of light. And that mediumship is contacting souls that are perhaps more recognizable. So, so Erik, I had a conversation with him this morning, and there's both there. He's in the light, and he's also recognizable.
Yeah.
So there's a gradation there. So I am a channel and a medium, but I met Valerie at jury duty.
Oh boy!
And I want to say,
just throw those things away. What?
so before I met Valerie at jury duty, I don't know, in the months before that, I had set a very strong intention to find colleagues in this line of work because as an environmental scientist,
Yeah.
I've
Wow.
had wonderful colleagues
Yeah.
for decades, and I I felt lonely as a channel, and I really wanted to have partnerships and perhaps a main partner. And
Yeah.
so that set the stage a few months before I met Valerie. So jury duty, I was late. I had to drive to the far end of our county, not the close end. I was just praying in the car, let this be a blessed day and let me be on time and let there be miracles. And so I show up and I was on time. I get into the box. I was the first set of people that they were interviewing and I introduced myself. And then a few days later, I I had a new follower on my podcast, the other podcast that I have. I'm like, I
What
don't
is
have
it?
any followers besides my friends and my
Okay.
relatives and my high
What's the
school
name of yours?
teachers.
Sorry, what's the
What's
name of
that?
your podcast before I forget?
Peace is an action verb. So I'm like, I don't know
Oh,
this Valerie Medina Chicana mama. Who is she? And so then I started following her on YouTube. I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, who's this amazing woman? She has such wonderful podcasts. So we played a very elaborate telephone tag kind of situation before we figured out who each other were. And we traded sessions. And then in that process, we realized, oh my gosh, we are supposed to do something together.
wow.
Yeah.
The universe is
Yeah.
so perfect. Gee.
Yeah, makes it all work out. Universal
Yeah.
timing. I was going to ask that. That was one of my questions about having. There was another podcast because I had seen that on your website, Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Is it an
yeah,
We both
action
have
verb?
other podcasts, actually.
That
Yeah.
is really.
I included a link to both our podcasts in that email that I sent,
Yes.
but I can send it again.
No, I'm sure Pal. Did you?
no, I did. I sent it. I sent it to Pal.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I sent it to
Okay.
her.
so.
Yeah, yeah,
What was the verdict? Guilty or not guilty?
Well,
yeah.
well, we should, first of all, Valerie, you should explain why you were also at jury duty.
I'm a courtroom clerk. So
Yeah.
No wonder you had to be there. Cool. Oh my God.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm typing away now during the voir dire where the judge is asking questions of the jurors that are in the box because
Right.
we're trying to pick a jury. I'm typing away and doing other stuff in the courtroom, and I'm going away, and suddenly I hear, you hear stuff, and I
Uh-huh.
hear Christine say she's I have a psychic business, and I went, what?
Oh wow. There we go.
Because
That's it.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of establishing SEH as a business and what
Right.
I wanted to do for
Yeah.
people and trying to figure out how to get a website and all that stuff. And I looked at my bailiff and I went,
What? Yeah. What does it tell the bailiff to choose her? So she can.
no, I told
no,
the
wait a minute.
bailiff, I said, did you hear that?
Oh.
No. And then I had to look at what seat she was in and figure out what her name was. And then I Googled her.
Aw.
Wow.
Aw.
And I found her business, and then I found her podcast, and I emailed her and got on there on her. I was trying to contact her, like, hey, I'm another person in here too.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
This
meanwhile, I'm like,
works
who is
like.
Valerie? She's awesome, but how do I know her? I had this real sense of familiarity with her, but I couldn't place her.
Yeah.
Like I'd never met her before. Yeah.
Yeah, being on a spiritual journey like this, it can be very lonely if you don't have your tribe, if you don't have people that,
Yeah.
believe in it. You lose a lot of people in your life, sometimes family members, it's
Yeah.
very
Yes.
common.
Yes.
But eventually it always works out to where you'll start to, it's almost like a magnet. Once people know what you do. And that's why I think it's important and this is for anybody listening, to always talk about what you do if you have an interest in it. Don't let fear stop you, because the people that are meant to be with you and in your life are going to gravitate towards you. And those who aren't are not.
Erik. That's what, because I knew that people needed a community that was safe to discuss things like this. And I was just trying to go from skepticism to belief during that whole process. Now, let's ask Erik something, Ginger. What kind of past lives have these two had together? Maybe one of the most significant ones, if any. or future life.
There has, and he also, and when you said future life, I got chills. So there's definitely a future life going on.
Cool.
Let's see what he shows me.
This
Right.
one first, okay?
Let me see what he shows me here.
Well, he just showed me that we were princesses together, but I don't know if that means like playing dress up.
So,
And I'm sorry, excuse my allergies. I keep dabbing my eyes and
oh,
nose
they're
here.
really bad right now. They're really bad. I feel for you. I feel them too. So he is showing me something in medieval times, so that validates what you were talking about. This looks like around the mid 1300s, and it's in the European area.
Cloister? We may have been.
He's showing like you guys were in the same family, like like a royal line, like a royal line.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, royal line. The problem was he's showing me something about this though, about being like closed off from the world. And you guys turned to each other for support. And there were others too. It wasn't just you two. There were others, and these are other people that are in your life now, both of you. But you couldn't. It was almost like being in prison. So people look at like, oh, you're royal and you have everything. The people will look at that kind of life, but on the other side of the wall, it's not really like that. You're kept away from everybody. It's like being in prison. So you guys turn to each other for support, is what he's showing me.
Yeah. Look at the miserable life in some of the roles they have in the UK. It's just, they're put on pedestals, and that way people cannot reach you. Real people, So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a lonely life. It's a lonely life, is what Erik was saying.
No channeling or anything like that.
No, there wasn't anything like that, but he does show that there was a really good connection between you two. Like there was like you just knew, almost like how you just know what someone's saying. You just know like what they need. There was a good connection like that, but it wasn't looked at like it's looked at now. There's a psychic ability. So
yeah, Christine, you should consider taking Quello. That thing. Quello?
No. for
what is
allergies?
Quello? Oh, yeah.
Quello.
You know what it is? It's new makeup that's getting in my eye.
Well, if you all have allergies, Quello is so great. It's just drops, and they send you in every day, I think. You take a drop, and then when you finish that bottle, it's a little bit increased. It's like it works great for my granddaughters. They have no more allergies.
Oh, thank you.
Quello.
Thank you.
Quello, Quello. That's for all you
I'm gonna check it out too.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know how expensive it is, but
I have a question for Christine. Are you also an author? Have you written or published?
Oh, that's so interesting. I've been encouraged lately to do that.
Oh,
And
you channel that, Ginger, from Erik? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Erik was talking about being an author or something.
oh, thank you. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
But I appreciate that encouragement. You are not the first one to say, get your pen out, Christine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
No, my career has been primarily in environmental regulation in the state of California.
Yeah.
Water quality
Well, that's a
field.
big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're both still working and then also doing this too?
So you got your
I
mother.
just retired.
Oh,
I just retired
Yeah.
last
that's
October.
right. That's right. We were talking about that. You're retiring.
Christine still has her muggle job, huh?
Well, right now I'm on break and I'm hoping to have a muggle job again.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
yeah, I've been on a break lately.
Okay. This stuff the SEH, is it done remotely?
Yes, I do it
Oh,
on
that's a
Zoom.
good question.
And how
Yeah,
long does it last? How long does a person have to be in a meditative state?
Usually
The
45
interview,
minutes.
And then the interview first, which is
which is 15 minutes.
okay.
And then about a 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
I kind of let it go as long as it kind of needs to. There's usually a natural break where things stop coming in, and the guides and your higher self give you only what you need to hear at the time. So sometimes coming back for other sessions can be more informative based on, because often they'll tell you how to do things, how to improve some things in your life. So they want you to do that.
So you did the
So
homework and come back.
yeah, do the homework and come back and then see what else is there to learn.
Like
I
peeling an
think,
onion off, right?
yeah,
Almost like
yeah.
that.
And they only give you what you're ready to hear. So
Oh,
it's nothing scary
yeah,
or, you know,
yeah.
not, it's not crazy,
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's practical. It can be practical. The interesting thing about Christine and I, when we channel, is that her channel is flowy and metaphorical and speaks in poetry, and my channel is very grounded and
Practical.
Yeah, that's
impractical.
cool. Well, that's
And
perfect for what
It's
you
a
do.
balance. It's a
yeah,
balance.
Perfect
yeah, it
balance.
is. It is. And so what we try to do with our podcast is once we looked at so she channels and I ask the questions, and then I channel and she asks the questions. And we got all this long videos. And so what we decided to do with it is break them down and react to the channeled
Smart.
session and talk about what the guides said and what they meant and how the information is coming in and what lessons are to be learned from that. And,
Well, wait a
and it
minute.
can be
This is live.
kind of like a lesson, kind of like a teaching lesson
That's
of what the
awesome.
guides are saying.
You
Reflecting.
channel for listeners? Is that what you do?
Say that
So
again.
Wow.
we play it, and
Yeah.
then we are off in a little box, and we'll stop it
Oh,
and say, this is what the guides said. What do you think they meant when they said that? And
love that.
isn't it wonderful that, how do we apply that to our actual lives?
Yeah.
Because they can talk up there and it's like,
Especially
okay,
that
what did that mean?
particular session that we recorded me channeling, because I was coming off of a 20-hour workday. So
Boom.
I was so my brain was untethered. And
Oh,
so
oh,
Valerie was like holding a kite, like, okay, Christine, come
these are
back.
back.
Yeah. So we realized after that, we were both like, whoa, what happened just then? And that was where we started the idea of reacting. So we were meeting every Wednesday night after work for the better part of a year, and we would take
Yeah.
those recordings of either of us channeling and just play it back to ourselves, and then stop, pause it, and then talk about it, and then play more. And the other point that I think is really important that I've noticed in my own journey with this is when you start to realize that there are more than the five senses, like Elisa, I've noticed you talking about that on your podcast,
Oh,
that
okay.
getting past the sensation of skepticism. And when you start to realize you have these other ways of receiving information, it's important to practice discernment, because just because you heard it through your third eye or your clairvoyance or clairsentient clairaudience doesn't mean that it's true to you. You
Yeah.
need to actually ask yourself, what do I think about this? How do I feel about this? Does it open my heart up and give me a sense of peace and reassurance, or does it make me fearful? And so it's important to ask these questions and to never just say, oh, someone's a channel, so they must be speaking the truth. That's
Yeah.
like going to a,
Oh yeah,
a church
definitely.
or temple or whatever and saying that person in the pulpit must be speaking the truth just
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's where they are. So that's part of it as well, is having that humbleness as a channel to always reflect
Yeah.
and to slow down and allow that reflection. There's so much rush in our life that we wanted to encourage ourselves, each other, and our audience, our community, to slow down and to take it in and think about it.
It's all here.
Yeah.
You can give, when I ask my higher self, I don't practice very much anymore, but a yes to a question, it'll feel like something, a little ball is going up and down in a tube in the center of the no is kind of like a sideways wobble.
Mm.
Anyway, there are techniques where you can sort of figure it all out and say, am I really channeling this? Mm-mm. No.
Mm.
Yes, dude. So yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so that I think is really important. And the other thing that happens in our podcast is that we tease each other.
Mm.
I
and
love that.
and we learn and when we started out, we knew we had an adventure together, but we didn't know what it was. And so it's still unfolding. And we're excited to start having guests on our podcast as well. There's other directions we're going to take all of this, but we do have those original several sessions that are still rolling out,
Oh,
that have
great.
been scheduled and are rolling out.
Oh, you got a lot of material.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of material.
Awesome.
And when we decided to do the channeling thing, we said, what's our first intention? Our first intention is to have fun.
Yeah.
Love that.
And so that's always what we go back to. Is this fun? We're going to keep doing this until it's not fun anymore.
Maybe
And
never.
Erik,
People,
Erik
people
was
re-
reminding both of us this morning or yesterday to keep focused on that.
Be playful.
yeah. And people relate to that. They relate to the authenticity. They relate to just being your natural self. And when you're having fun, you do show your natural self mostly. And that's where you're going to reach people.
Well, they want authenticity for sure because it
Oh,
gives them permission to be authentic too. It's okay
Yes.
to be
Yes.
self-deprecating and to realize what flaws you have and think, they're my quirks and flaws, whatever, and embrace them, and
Yep.
love your flaws. I love you,
They
flaws.
make you unique.
I love you, all you flaws. My arms are bigger.
Flaws, and you even can say like the inner child in us that's quirky. We all have a quirkiness that's unique to ourselves, and to allow that to see the light of day
Yeah.
Yeah.
and let it be okay.
Yeah, for so many years, and things have shifted big time. I'm sure everybody sees it, but for so many years, people were always comparing themselves to others, and this still goes on, but it was more so in the past. And I think that we're coming out of that now, and that's one of the shifts that's happening is being your true self and not trying to be something you're not because you think it's better. It's better this way, but being your true self, and that's something that is going to evolve us. That's part of the evolution moving forward
So,
spiritually.
is that like part of the age of Aquarius? Because what was the one before Aquarius, guys? Leo? Is it Leo?
Gosh.
Whatever it was kind of like the age of
Capricorn.
Capricorn, I think.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, the age of dominance. Like you have to believe what the preacher says and believe what your parents say and just no question
Authority.
asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like that. Now that's melting away, or maybe it's already melted away.
We needed to be in male energy in order to build,
Yeah.
build civilizations, build
Mm.
Yeah.
and get to this point in civilization where we have technology and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
not to say that women didn't have a contribution, but
Oh yeah.
we're going into more of a female energy
Yeah.
period.
But
Dominated.
I didn't think about that, but you need male energy when we went from being nomads to being agrarians.
Yes.
We had to all of a sudden set up towns, little villages, and that had to have some governance and blah, blah, blah. And that built into towns and then cities, et cetera, and countries. So we had to have
Right.
this male dominance. But now I
First,
agree we're ready for a change.
to be civilized, be
Yeah.
civilized, to have organization in a way,
Structure,
Father
right?
of the home.
structure.
Be
Right.
good or you're going to get a whooping.
But we do, I mean,
Father energy.
we need structure and infrastructure.
Yeah.
How do we get food to each other, water to each home, that kind of a thing.
It's true. But women were the balance that was nurturing to balance against that heavy energy, I think. So Capricorn,
Yeah.
look that up and to find out more about that age.
Now it's the nurturing age.
You want to you want to talk about, maybe it's secret, you don't have to give names, an interesting session that you had with somebody? Or if you can't,
Which of us are you asking?
Yeah.
If you both
so-
had one,
yeah. If not, it's fine.
I guess if I can jump in, Valerie, I'd just say Valerie was talking about her guides and my guides, and what I find to be wonderful and it's an endless gift that I get to appreciate as a practitioner is that when I'm channeling for a client, it's always a blend of energies. And so you could get some of the metaphor and flower and imagery from my spiritual team, but also, for example, one of my regular clients, her higher self tells her things like, you need more electrolytes, like really focus specific
Or
advice.
practical. Yeah.
Right. And so I love that it's always a blend,
Yeah.
and it has a lot to do with the intentions that you set going in, and we both set intentions to bring the highest good for all involved,
Oh,
and I think
good.
that's also very important.
And you say a prayer of intent, I suppose, before you channel, right?
Yeah.
What do you
Yes.
say? What kind of prayer do you use?
Um, Something like just
Oh, no.
well, I always ask my sitters not to imbibe in alcohol or
Oh, yeah.
marijuana or anything
Yeah.
24 hours before a session, because you want to be nice and open and clean. And then within the session, before the session starts, I do a meditation to relax myself and kind of open myself up. And then I ask only beings of light and love be within the session and come into the session today and give the information that's needed for the sitter.
Okay.
So I usually do that on my own, but then when we're talking,
Yeah.
I explain that this is going to be, really easy, and try to put the person at ease. Usually there's a little bit of nerves
Oh, yeah.
because hypnosis carries some misinformation about, you see it as a parlor trick,
No, they totally go out, which is not true. And a lot of people, you're not going to be able to
you'll
hypnotize me. I'm wasting my money here.
Yeah, and even within a session, I always tell people if there's something, because at the end I say, if there's something that you'd like to ask your guides about that you don't want to, you want to hear privately.
Right.
And if they say yes, then I allow some time to go ahead and do that.
Oh.
And so that it's that part's not recorded, because I record it on Zoom, so the person has it for later.
Right.
And so that part, they'll have to remember or write down. But most of the session, you remember, because you are just super relaxed. You're not out of it. You're not asleep. Although in hypnosis, some people do fall asleep.
Yeah.
They're
get all relaxed.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
So is it like theta meditation you're in, or is it?
Now I do have a theta meditation. I have different hypnosis scripts, and one is a theta.
Wow.
So it's a deeper one. Yeah.
I have this, I'm trying it out, this little scalar device from the same company that sold me it's an AHAS Halo. And it does have a theta. And it has the Schumann resonance, and I'm doing neck and shoulder pain.
Oh,
turn on. Oh yeah. Wrong.
Oh, that's nice.
See, neck and shoulder discomfort. And it just keeps
so it sends energy to you.
Energy, yeah, at a certain frequency. Now I don't feel anything, but I let my Michelle, my second eldest daughter, try it, and she got tingling all of a sudden in her right to a little toe, and all of a sudden she just felt this weirdness. And it's not weird, but this energy. She felt energy. I can't feel energy. Eric, why can't I feel energy? Jesus. Slow learner.
Erik says, because Mom, you are looking too deep for it. You're missing the subtleness of it, he says. It's there. You feel it sometimes. It is a matter of your mind too, where your mind is. Because your mind loses its track real quick. Like you have so much going on, so your mind is hopping to one thing after another.
Even though I don't have anything going on, it's still going monkey brain. That's okay.
Your brain has stuff going on though, even though there's not going on in front of you. That's
true. That's true.
So. But you could, if you really wanted to. He says, you know what, Lisa, you should try this sometime, where you sit in the living room or sit somewhere, close your eyes, have a couple family members come in or some people come in and of course, when there's more there, and stand one behind you and one over on this side, not knowing who they are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which one do you feel? Because you will feel the energy of them. And that's how it feels in spirit for me when I tune into someone's loved one. I can feel like their energy and how they feel.
I'm going to try that. Or I can have, so I don't mix them up because the energies are so close, maybe one first and then number two second behind me. Or
Yeah,
something.
you can
I'll figure it out.
number them, but you would fill it as long as like one's on one side and one's on the other. They're
Right.
not standing both behind you,
Like
but one
those
on one
last
side, and then you will feel the difference between who they are with their energy.
Interesting. I love that. You guys practice that exercise. That sounds fun. All right, tell me about the piece as a verb,
Peace is an action verb.
action verb.
Action verb. Yeah.
It's part of why I quit the job I had for 18 years with no real financial direction ahead of
Oh,
me.
geez. Oh, boy.
But I actually think, excuse my clutter, but I'm going to show it to you.
Okay.
Um, can you see the wall over
Yeah,
there
vision
Mhm.
board.
with all the verbs?
Oh,
So
yeah,
there
yeah.
was a point in my life where Spirit was giving me verbs, peace verbs, and I would hear it and then get out my X-Acto blade and butcher block and carve them out of paper and put them up on this wall. And I ended up
Wow.
with 70 verbs.
Oh, wow.
And I was journaling a lot and writing down like pieces in action blog. I didn't know what I was doing with it, but I knew it mattered. It was really important.
Yeah.
And so it became the wall first, and then a dream about a podcast. And I was a government worker, had no idea how to do podcasts.
Wait,
Like
a
there
dream,
was
like a dream in your sleep, or just a dream, like a vision?
like a waking won't let me go obsession
Okay.
and
Got it.
peace verbs.
Right.
So I did end up creating the podcast. I've got, I think, about 25 episodes out there.
Wow.
And so the list of verbs becomes the starting point for the conversation. I send my guest an Excel spreadsheet with the verbs where I've checked off the ones that I associate with them, and then they are the way we flow through the conversation. We explore peace
Cool.
verbs in their life.
Wow.
That's neat.
That is really cool.
That's neat.
Thank
And it
you.
involves channeling, I guess, right?
Well, it's actually it's more of my like, because I'm also a coach and a
Yeah.
facilitator. So this is
Oh,
more
I
of
see.
my podcast for people who are spiritual or not.
Yeah.
It's for everybody. And I actually have an ebook. So yeah, I guess I've published something. I haven't,
Oh,
it's
there we
self-published
go.
at this point. I have an ebook called The Little Book of Peace Verbs, and it's a little book of journal and art project prompts and conversation prompts based on the peace verbs, and just
Nice.
to give
That's
people a way
probably why
to
he was
play.
bringing that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that was
Maybe.
part
That
of.
one is
Yeah.
available for sale
Yeah.
electronically, yeah. And it
Yeah.
also
Cool.
actually has a PDF or their JPEG um, of the verbs that are on my wall so that people can print them out and color them in, so the art
Nice.
project side of it. Yeah.
That is so
That's neat.
awesome. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we need to put the link to the ebook as well. Now, Christine,
Thank you.
were they mentioning, was Christine, no, sorry, was Christine mentioning that you also have a second podcast? Or was I mistaken?
Valerie,
Well,
yeah, she has
they
a
just
second
have
podcast
do.
too.
Valerie,
We
Yeah.
each have our own podcast. So my
Oh,
other
what's-
podcast
yeah, that's
is
what I want.
called Drawing on Spirit, which
Mhm.
is in my name
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
And that's where I interview because I'm an artist, that's the community I come from, and that's how I connect with spirit too. So I had this idea to interview artists, musicians, and other creatives, knitters, people who put together lowriders and cars and that kind of thing.
Oh, wow,
People who
everything.
create, yeah,
Every
people
kind of
who
art.
create, who make,
Yeah.
right? And so I asked them pretty much the same 13 questions. They're kind of geared towards whatever craft or making that they do. And I asked them the questions about how they receive inspiration. Where does it come from? What is their muse? How do they get
What
the
drives them?
information in to
This is a
create?
great
Yeah.
podcast. I'm going to turn to my sister Terry. She used to do like pottery kind of stuff, but she got dissuaded from it because some person said it's not art if you can piss in it. It's like, no.
Oh my
What?
goodness.
I know, it's awful.
Oh my gosh.
Cruel.
So
That was
yeah,
a
that is so
jealous
cruel.
but yeah,
person.
create is an action verb too, people.
Yeah. There you
Yes,
go.
it
There you
is.
go.
Yes, it is.
It's up
Thank
there on my
you.
wall somewhere,
So-
actually.
what I was trying to get at is, are other people like me? Do they get messages from spirit
Yeah.
when they're creating? And so
Yes.
that was the
They do.
that was
Yep.
where I wanted it to go. It doesn't always go there. For instance,
They don't-
some of the
that-
musicians that I interviewed were not tuned into that. They
They don't see it. They don't see it.
no,
Yeah.
they were so
Fair.
in the music that they didn't see the bigger picture. They were in the minutia of it.
So they're
And
channeling
so, but
either
it's
from their higher self, or they're channeling from a fellow musician, deceased. They're channeling though, right?
right.
Okay,
But they
okay.
don't realize it. So
Okay.
they don't know
Yeah.
how to talk about it. So
Yeah.
not all artists and musicians and creative people know what they're doing and why they're doing it. They
Yeah.
don't think about it. They just do.
Yeah.
So that's okay too, because that's another experience. But the point with that podcast was that I wanted people to understand that you just have to find your creativity. Everyone is creative, just like everyone is spiritual, just like everyone has gifts and guides and their own way of talking to God and talking to their higher self.
Yeah.
Creativity is one way, and also I think everyone is creative, and they just have to know where it is and find it somewhere.
Yeah, it
in
doesn't
their
have to
life.
be. It doesn't have to be art per se. It doesn't have to be
Right,
something
right,
artistic.
no.
It can be. You can be a creative listener. You can be creative
Oh.
as in
Amazing.
just knowing what somebody needs and
That's me.
helping them.
I just
Yeah.
feel I know what a person
Right.
needs
Right.
to hear,
Right.
have me do. But yeah, I think the soul's primal urge is to express itself. And
Yes.
there are almost infinite numbers of ways that can happen through
Yeah.
creating podcasts, through creating vision boards, action verb boards, and putting together a new Harley and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we close?
One thing I wanted to say about when I found you, you had Veronica Drake on.
Yeah.
I connected with her and went to her school for about 10 months. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
and that's how I opened up. That was part of my spiritual journey. I
Miss
just wanted
B.
you to know that. Miss B,
Miss
she's
B is
awesome.
awesome. She's gonna
Yeah,
be cocktail hour tonight. Oh, do you guys want to be a part of the team on Atlantic Scalar? We've got a tab at the top called the team. Just take a look at that and see if you want to be a part of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Team,
It's
AtlanticScalar.com.
on Lana Scalar site. Yeah.
Yeah. And look at it. And if you want to, just send me kind of like what you see other people, like Miss V is there too. And like a high grade photo and information, what you do and website and all that kind of contact information. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you're building like a directory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Directory of
Yeah.
options for people, because there's a lot of people that need help, and people like Veronica, of course, they've been with CE for a long time.
Oh, I loved her
Those are
school.
up. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, she
Yeah,
helped
it
my
was
son Luca so much as a life coach. So she's really awesome. Check her out,
Yeah.
people. That's an order. For a doctor's order.
Who?
You.
Veronica Drake.
Oh no, she was talking about the life coaching thing. That's why I got
okay.
confused.
Life
Yeah.
coach. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
All right.
I was like, I didn't know that she did that too, is why I was asking that. So
No, I'm talking about you, Miss Bailey. Maybe I said Miss B. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bailey.
See, it starts to
Bailey.
go.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
getting a message from Spirit that there's a closing remark, and I'm really nervous because I don't know what Spirit wants to say.
Okay. Go for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
feeling your way into your heart takes time and patience and practice, friends. So it's okay if you don't get it right in one day.
Oh,
Oh, that's great.
very good.
Yeah.
People say, okay, I'm done.
Yep.
Now, so I got to do my wash. I do have to do, actually. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Valerie and Christine. Thank you, Ginger. Can't wait
Thank you.
to be a part of the team. We're also going
Yeah.
to start, I'm going to ask whoever, since the meetings are so booked up, if anybody wants to, I mean, we have a yes or no thing, like $7. You can ask a yes or no question of Erik with certain of the mediums. They don't all do it, but to have a little bit more, like an email for more money, of course, like a small, just more than just one word, yes or no. So, that's if you get $50 and instead of paying $200.
Yeah.
But you
I do
don't get
channeling minis for
channeling mini. That's it.
$35.
Yeah,
People
35
can
bucks.
send me
That sounds
3
good.
questions.
Yeah, yeah,
And then it's not a live,
That's cool.
if I have an appointment with people, that's a Zoom call.
yeah.
And that's a higher price point. But for just, these are my 3 questions, and then,
Oh,
on my
you do
lunch break
that?
or whatever.
You do
Yeah.
that? Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, I think
That's
great
great.
because people when a session is, I mean, in this economy, it's hard, but people do it
Yeah.
because I'm not going to give up my freaking haircut. I'll tell you that. I don't care how my hair is. I'm
Yeah.
coloring up that gray until the last day here on earth. And so they will seek help through a channeler for help basically in life.
Yeah.
And for helping with grief, etc. So yeah. So if we could do little options like the yes or no or the mini channeling, I like that. Okay, people. Anything else before we close?
Thank you. It's so lovely to meet all of you,
Eric,
and
yeah,
Erik
Oh,
included.
by the way,
Eric's just saying, love you, love everybody, and happy birthday, Mom.
thank you. I forgot to say, Paula wants me to say, sorry I took so long, Paula, that she's almost finished collecting enough money to finish up the documentary. She needs like $4,000 more. So write that check, 4,000. No, I'm kidding. Just so you can go to channeling Erik with a K doc.com and buy merchandise. You don't have to give money, but anything that can help. $5 can help. And we're just trying to get to that. She's just trying to get to that goal to finish paying the illustrator.
And get your shirt. And get your shirt.
Yeah, I wore mine all weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And all that information is in the description.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye. Love
Thank
you.
you guys.
Bye.
Bye.